and the Amarillo Golden Sandstorm, a program that is long on tradition, long on history, long on pedigree, and long on fan fever. There are perhaps no more passionate fans in the state of Texas than Amarillo fans. And the guy in charge of that Amarillo Golden Sandstorm is one of the winningest coaches in the state, one of the winningest active coaches in the state, and we are pleased to be joined on the phone lines now, Max, by the head coach of the Amarillo Golden Sandstorm, is Coach Mel Maxfield. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
How's your offseason treating you?
Oh, it's been good.
Yeah?
It's been good. Fixing to head to a family reunion up in Ruidoso, New Mexico.
My goodness, how big of a family reunion is? Are this the kind of 10 to 12 people, or is this a big blowout?
It's more of the 10 to 12 range. We're still a little spread out. Every once in a while, about every fifth year, we'll get 20 or so.
Well, nobody deserves a vacation more than you, and I want to start with a big honor you got this year. You were the recipient of the Landry Award in conjunction with the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, voted on by the Texas High School Coaches Association. As far as it's an award given to reflect a coach's body of work over an extended period of time. For you to be the recipient of the Landry Award, I imagine that's a pretty big honor.
It is. It's a very humbling experience. It's peer driven, like you said. And up here in Region 1, the coaches, nominated me, and then my cousin Kyle, he presented me down in Austin then, or San Marcos, at the board meeting, and so it was a lot of people helped get me there. And then of course throughout the years, all the assistant coaches that have played such a major role in our success, and of course then the players all had a piece of it. So it's like I said, a very humbling experience, and something that I'm real proud of, to be honest with you.
You mentioned your cousin Kyle, who is on the move himself. He's moving from Shallow Water over to Brownwood, and so now the Maxfield family's got some of the most historic programs in Texas covered. How often are you talking shop with your cousin Kyle?
Oh, we talk regularly. I'd say at least once a week, and sometimes more. We're real close. We're more like brothers than we are cousins, but he's had a great career too, and did a great job at Shallow Water, putting the edge on those guys, and marching deep into the playoffs the last 4 or 5 years. And the Brownwood situation is, like you said, unique in its historical aspect of things, and I think they're hungry to get back to state prominence again, and I think they got the guy that can lead them to that.
I want to talk a little bit about last year first and foremost. You guys run out to a 9-win season, go 9-3, run into Arlington Martin in the second round. This is a program that's used to deep playoff runs. Overall, do you consider last year a success, or do you feel like you left a little meat on the bone?
No, we were proud of what we were able to accomplish. Arlington Martin's awful talented, well coached. Bob's put an edge on those guys too that they hadn't had in a while, and whether you can tell they're developing guys to the next level, and got great numbers, and great schemes to try to defend and move the ball against, and they've got it going. So it's not a sin to lose to Arlington Martin. And we were hoping to play them a little closer, but after the dust settled, we were pleased with what we were able to accomplish.
The other thing about it is that you guys are in a very rare company, that you will go from playing in the 6A Division I bracket, and now all of a sudden you guys are dropping down to 5A. I imagine you knew that you guys were going to be right on the cusp of that 6A, 5A breakdown. Did you have a feeling one way or another whether or not you guys were going to go 6A or 5A?
I really thought we would stay 6A, and then they moved the number up to 2150, and
so you're 6 under.
Yeah, so we were 6 under. So it was it's not that we get that much of a break though locally, because Randall and Canyon both have dominant programs, have been really good. Dumas is on the upswing. Coach Dunham's done a great job getting his program established, and they're playing with a different pace. And Plainview is a scrappy team that's been in the playoffs here lately. So I don't think that you got any huge breaks district wise by dropping down. So and then we play teams that we've been playing. If we are fortunate enough to get in the playoffs, we'll be playing the Lubbock district, and we've been in the district with those guys, so we know what to expect from those folks. And they're on the upswing program wise, both at Monterey and Coronado. Lubbock Cooper has made a big splash on the scene since they've moved up to 5A. So we understand that there's a lot of work to do ahead of us, and we can't get too far ahead of ourselves on the playoff run until we, number one, get in the playoffs and then take it one step at a time.
I'm glad you brought up your district, because District 3 5A is really, to me, very interesting, because every squad, it seems like, is going to give you a run for one reason or another. You mentioned Canyon and Canyon Randall and Dumas, who are all very, very good teams. And even the teams that maybe we don't expect to be challenging for a district title, are teams that are going to want a piece of you. Amarillo Caprock and Amarillo Paladero and Hereford. It seems like these are programs that either you're going to be playing very tough because they're outstanding teams, or you're going to be playing very tough because there's a lot of pride on the line.
Yes, Don Delozier over at Hereford's got those guys set to make a run. I know that they were real young with a lot of their kids this year, so they've got a year experience under their belt, and they, again, well coached, great schemes. And then PD's got a new coach in Chris Fisher. So, there's an unknown there. We play them later on. So by the time, we play them, I think it's week 9 or 10. It's the next last ball game for us. They'll be established, any, new adjustments will be handled and faced and, put to rest. And then we open up district, with Caprock. So, the local flavor, the rivalries in place, and plus the fact that their district ball games put a lot more emphasis on those games. And so, yeah, I think everybody's got a shot to get into playoffs. I think we better have our A game with us whenever we do battle, week in and week out, and and we'll see where the chips fall.
We're talking with Mel Maxfield, the head coach of the Amarillo Golden Sandstorm here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation at #DCTF Live. And Coach, for me, when I start kind of perking up when looking at Amarillo teams, and your Amarillo teams to be specific, it's when you guys have a strong defense. And looking at your defense between Ellis Newkirk, Ross Arrington, and then some linebacker, Maxfield. It seems like you guys, once again, should be pretty stout on the defensive side.
This spring we had a good spring, so it's kind of one of those deals. You hope we're that good on defense and we're not that bad on offense. But the defense really had a really good spring. We're real deep up front. You mentioned Ellis Newkirk. He'll be a 3-year starter if things continue to develop like they do. But he's got a lot of help with classmates Nick Weddington, Peyton Stadford, Austin Foster. Those guys will all be seniors and have made plays throughout last year. We played 6 to 7 a game up front, which again is kind of the scheme of choice now with all the spread stuff that you see. And you got to have fresh pass rush. Outside linebackers, we've got like I said, Ross coming back, and then we have Skylar Medina, who lettered last year and played some football, and then Grant Boxwell. We don't really know if we're going to play Grant on defense at outside linebacker or at wingback, but had a really good spring. And then inside, along with Max, there's Garrett Payne, who started throughout most of the year, and then Dax Watson. So 3 seniors that really they're real even, and there's not a lot of drop off. So we've got real good depth with our front 7. Secondary wise, we've got some experience, and we had some improvement made, but I think that'll hold the key defensively, how we hold up in the secondary.
And then the offense, you guys are kind of starting over. One starter back on offense in a wing T type offense. I know there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things to understand. But at the same time, I feel like you guys, these kids have probably been running the wing T since they were in diapers. So for you, looking at the offense, even with the lack of starters, what are you seeing from your offense?
Well, I thought experienced up front defensively. So during the spring, we struggled. We had our days where we struggled up front some. But as we finished up spring football, we thought with our offensive front took a step forward. We had a couple that didn't go through spring because of injuries. So we feel like we've got 8 guys that can help us move the football, and that's a good number to start with. And then hopefully we can develop those other 2 so we can be 2 deep from tackle to tackle. We had guys that have played and got some experience, and even though they weren't starters, they played half the time last year. So we've got some solid experience coming back. Just like everybody else, we got to stay eligible. We got to stay away from, season-ending injuries, and just got to stay hungry and enjoy the process.
And I got to ask you, Amarillo is such a football-crazy part of the state, and for you, obviously you're entering your 7th season there with the Golden Sandstorm. I know it's a wild scene every Friday night. Does that ever wear off for you whenever you walk out there on a Friday night?
No, we always have great crowds at Bivens. It's a tradition that there's a lot of things in place that are traditionally driven. From the pep rallies every week. A lot of schools don't even have pep rallies anymore. We have one every week, it's I don't know. There's just a lot of tradition built in with what's done around here, and one of those traditions is to win on Friday night. So, I see it as a positive deal. That's the expectation that the community has for our kids, and it's a positive situation. I don't see it as negative at all.
He is Mel Maxfield. He is the head coach of the Amarillo Golden Sandstorm. Coach, enjoy the rest of your offseason. Appreciate you taking time with us, and enjoy your family reunion. I'm sure we'll be talking in the fall.
You bet. Thanks.
There he goes, Mel Maxfield, the head coach of the Amarillo Golden Sandstorm. Good dude, good coach. 55-21 at Amarillo. 226 wins in his illustrious career.
Is that all?
Forney and Burleson before that. Talk about a football family. You got Max Maxfield, which, by the way, it was only a matter of time when the last name Maxfield, but somebody was going to be named Max, right?
Big fan.
A man after your own heart.
Yeah.
And then of course talk about. I don't know if I can remember a family having head coaching spots at 2 programs as esteemed as Amarillo and Brownwood.
Yeah, this is a good point. I have to think about it.
That's pretty. The Maxfield family has got the state of Texas covered.
Yeah.
So.